Hello.
Hello.
We are here to make your wildest beans come true. Let's go ahead and just bring Jon on now. With Jon,
There he is.
Jon, where are you?
What happened?
I'm right here. What just happened? I just went
nothing.
blank for a second.
Oh,
No, you're good. We can see you. We can hear you.
Hi, what's going on? It was like you were like, let's bring Jon, and then something glitched, and I freaked out.
oh, you looked very concerned for a moment, but I think
All right.
Well, all right. So, hey, can you don't crank my audio, but just a little nudge.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, here come the comments. Happy Friday, guys. We've got Jon from GoImagine here. And we're just gonna set y'all loose on him. Be nice. That's like our well, 2 rules. First rule is to be nice. Second rule is not really a rule, but it's more a rule that we are going to be following. We're going to avoid repeat questions just because we know that people tune in at different times. If a repeat question is asked, maybe you guys in the chat can help us out a ton by just letting people know, hey, they already answered that. That way they can just watch the replay. Yeah. So we're not wasting everybody's time. But I did want to mention that our June charity has started. Every June for Pride Month, we do the Trevor Project. So feel free to check that out. There's a lot of donations on that already because I reused last year's charity. So it's going to show our total from last year now. Thank you to the produce aisle who donated. But the Trevor Project, they provide chat lines, text lines, phone lines to at-risk LGBTQ plus youth who are, having suicidal thoughts. They're a really great organization, and they provide that support to teens. So definitely consider checking that out, either by donating via the link down below or go to their website because they've got a lot of great resources there. But I think that we're good if you're good, Jon.
I can't hear him anymore.
Oh, no. That's how we know it's actually live. Is it on our end or is it on his end? It's my fault. It's my fault for talking so much. I ruined everything. I just wanted to say I had a question for GoImagine support today, and they were so fast with a response. Woohoo! That's awesome.
I legit can't hear him at all.
Uh-oh. Can they hear him?
Can you guys hear him?
I'm
not doing anything.
Can hardly hear Starla.
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
That problem.
Oh, okay. That was us.
Yeah, I'm not. Bubbers, can you quit?
Nothing yet, Jon. I don't think.
Yeah, I literally haven't done anything, and it's already glitching up over here.
Oh.
Nobody hears them. Okay, I'm gonna boot you out real quick, and then have you rejoin.
Okay. Yeah, that seems to be what's working. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys for sticking with us. Nope. You guys sound like nope. Yep. What are those? Are those Muppets or Sesame Street? Not that they're all that different, but what are the nopes and yeps? What are they from? Those puppets.
There he is. I still can't hear him.
Oh no.
The only thing that I messed with has nothing to do with.
There we go.
There he goes. There he
Oh,
goes.
wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey,
Yay.
what's up, everybody?
Now we're just gonna not touch anything.
I'm touching it. Oh, I see my microphone. I'm touching nothing. You can hear me okay?
And everybody can hear.
Yep.
Okay.
Whew. That's
All
the
right.
worst that's the worst part about being live, where you're just kind of like, uh-oh, what do we do now?
Especially when we got on early with the thought that if there were any issues, we'd fix them.
But I think we're good now, right?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
All right.
Well,
Got everything
I
all
was saying
balanced
earlier,
out.
thank you for having me. I'm sorry we got off to a rough start, but maybe that means the rest of this is going to be flawless.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that we might have had some questions through there. I did notice someone asked about HAA. That's opening June 14th, and it is $997. That's lifetime access. All of the information, though, if you go to joinhaa.com about like what is in the program, that'll all be listed on that page. We'll answer questions about that more towards the end, though. I don't want to go away from the topic here. Okay, you want to scroll through and see if there's a lot of nopes in there from when we...
Yeah.
All right.
And be patient on the volume, guys. We just started the stream, so I have to look as we talk to see
Yeah,
where he's at. I'll be adjusting it in real time like I have been.
All right.
cool. All right, there we go. A pinch of Q.
Let's
That's
start
Emma?
here. That's an easy way to start.
Okay.
Would GoImagine consider a free trial for sellers to try it out before subscribing?
So the best way to put that is what we've done is we have a promotion where every seller has a referral code that allows them to give 1 month free to any friend. So we always tell people make a GoImagine friend and you'll get a month for free. So we don't give the month out. We rather, and then once you do join, you get a referral code, and every time you share it, you get a month free if someone else uses it. So it's
That's cool.
it's a promotion, that allows our people to refer new sellers, and in turn they get a month free. The new seller gets a month free, and we've had some that I don't think have paid us since they've joined because they've just had more people join. So find a seller and they have a referral code.
Everybody keeps asking me if I have one. I have not opened my GoImagine shop yet. I think I'm going to do a digital coloring page shop with those licensing agreements that I have with authors. I figured that would be a cool way to do that. Before I was planning to actually have Jon talk a little bit about GoImagine before we jumped into questions, and I wasn't even thinking about it once we got everything working. So Jon, do you just want to talk for a minute and let them? We'll go ahead and full screen them.
There's some people here like, free code for what? What is this we're talking about?
Exactly.
I guess I'll give the 2-minute spiel. My name is Jon Lincoln. I am the founder of GoImagine. If you have not heard of GoImagine, we are I like to say, handmade community and handmade platform that started during the pandemic. I always like to say handmade community and platform because I personally believe we are a lot more than just a marketplace. I think a lot of us look at us as a marketplace, and from a buyer perspective, that's what we are. But we do provide a lot of services to our customers and to our vendors. They have their own private website if they're on certain plans, kind of like a replacement to Shopify or Wix. We have a handmade community called Maker Circle, which is I call it the Facebook for handmade. It's you can download the app on iPhone or Android. It's called Maker Circle. We do a lot of our own education, and we do our own in-person meetups. If anyone here is from Massachusetts, so we do meetups locally where we get to meet artists locally and also do in-person classes. But at the end of the day, the whole reason we started this was because I truthfully am a tech person. I've been in tech now for about 10 years. I had a software company before this where I grew it, was fairly successful with it, sold my shares in it, and started GoImagine more as a philanthropic, I'll call it dream, to be honest with you. I then later partnered with Steph Romke, who's actually in the office with me right now. She is handmade. She's been an artist for years, and I've been close friends with her. So we, much maybe like Starla and Mark here, we make a really good team where one of us is tech and the other is handmade, and together we work on creating the perfect platform, or working towards that platform. But going back to the dream, the idea, without getting too much on a soapbox here, the whole idea and like the concept is pretty simple. And it's the idea that a true marketplace is made up of its community of members, its buyers and sellers. It's not made up of the shareholders. It's not made up of the owners, right? It's supported by those who actually use it. And so with us, as of right now, all of our profits go to charity. That has always been our mission, is 100% profits go to charity. And we focus on the community over any sort of like shareholder returns or anything like that. And in turn, the community supports us. So that's how we look at this business. And if I had to really talk about the huge dream, I'll call it, is that this is how marketplaces should operate, not just ones that are handmade. There should be the eBay that helps the rainforest. There should be the Uber that's focused on cancer research. There should be the DoorDash that's focused on, good social causes, because Wall Street early on, and again, I know I'm going off on this Starla, so I apologize.
Oh, you're fine.
But literally early on, Wall Street realized the power of marketplaces and those network effects, and the fact that more buyers brings more sellers brings more buyers brings more sellers, and those network effects create an unstoppable force. Well, that force can exist in the world for good if people use the platforms focused on that sort of a network effect, versus the ones that are built basically for shareholder return. So that's the big dream of what we're trying to build here. And it all starts with the makers and artists and getting them on board with believing in a new and better way to run a handmade platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to clarify, John, because this was brought up a couple times on my video on Tuesday, because that ended up doing way better than I ever could have expected. So how much money do you pay me to talk about GoImagine right now?
Well, so Starla, you don't get paid anything. You get paid zero. And if it makes you feel better as well, I also get paid zero right now from GoImagine.
Yeah. Well, that was another one. I was just about to say, how many billions of dollars do you make, John?
The truth is, and I think everyone who's watching this is probably a handmade business, and you all understand, investing in your own company and investing and how many hours you work unpaid as you build it, because quite frankly, we're building passion businesses. Those who are handmade artists did not get into it because it's a quick rich scheme, right? And if you did, you chose the wrong quick rich scheme.
Oh, that's true.
That's
Big
why
time.
you got into being a maker and artist. And the whole reason we started GoImagine, it wasn't meant to be a quick rich. I mean, I've been doing this for years, and I have another business we won't get into that helps provide me the income I need to live while we build GoImagine. But yeah, this is I'd like to call it a passion business. And we're reinvesting every dime we can back into the company. And the real story is I couldn't afford you even if I had to pay you, Starla. So
well, you're very lucky that I also really love the mission, and I'm sure that you guys sitting here listening can see, you guys have known me for a long time, most of you have. And you know what Mark and I are all about. You know that literally every week or every month we pick a different charity to support. We have been disagreeing with a lot of the choices that Etsy's made over the last few years. We have always been for the artists and the sellers. And I feel like expanding out and giving you guys more information and more options in the event that you want to branch out is the best thing to do right now. Because when we start hearing you guys say, what do we do now? What's going on with Etsy? I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. My next logical step was to start looking into what the next business model was going to be, or what the next platform was going to be. And when I sat down with all of them, even before I ever messaged John, I went into the eRank Compare Sites tool and I entered all the big ones. GoImagine, it was below Etsy, obviously, because it's new. They're the little guys. But when you eliminate Etsy from that list, they're at the top. And that, to me, was before I sat with John and learned about the charitable stuff and learned about Mosaic and got to know John as a person and realized, oh, okay, this guy actually cares about this community. So that's why it's not like several people put in the comments on the video on Tuesday, it's not a sponsorship thing. There are genuinely good people in this industry. The unfortunate thing is there are also a lot of bad people in this industry, and I'm glad that you guys stay skeptical. But I hope that through this live stream, and even joining John on Wednesdays on the Maker Circle app, he does his office hours where he streams live. Hopefully you guys can learn more about the platform and make a decision for yourself. But can someone please wake up Gilligan and let her know that we are at her question? Someone just give her a shake.
Just yell in the microphone.
No, she said she said she was taking a nap, and until please wake her up when we got to her question.
Well, we're at her question, so I'm not waiting anymore. I want to talk about the whole integrating Etsy into GoImagine. Can Etsy listings be synced with minimal extra work, like Shuttle on Shopify?
So we have an Etsy import, which allows you to import all of your listings from Etsy into GoImagine. We actually do the work for you. We have a help article that tells you how to download your CSV file, which is the products, email to us, and we import it in. So that gives you, I always call it a big head start. Doesn't mean it's done. You might need to clean up some things. You have to assign the categories because we don't the exact same categories. If you have options, you might have to assign options, but it does give you again, a big head start, and it saved a lot of people a lot of time, especially if you have hundreds of products you're looking to import. So yes, we have an Etsy import.
Okay. Yeah.
We
I
also
saw.
do it. We also do an Etsy import of reviews. That's a
Oh,
service we provide. That's the only one we charge for. It's free to import your products. We charge to import reviews, and that's because we do take the time to validate the reviews you sent us are actual reviews from your Etsy shop. So it takes us more time to do it, because for us, it's all about the ethical nature of the reviews. We believe that, and again, everyone I think has different opinions on this, but I think that, a review for your business is a review for your business, right? And you should be able to use that review, uh, where it is. Oh, it does not
yeah.
sync with that. So yeah, it's a one-time import. I got Steph here who just wrote to me. It's a one-time import of your products. It's not a sync. We are looking into the sync, and in fact, we reached out to Etsy to integrate with their API. I'm scared if that API ever gets turned off, though, if we spend too much time doing the sync.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
No, that makes sense.
Mistress that asked an HAA question. We'll get to HAA questions at the end.
Yeah, this not taking the spotlight away, but if you do have questions about Handmade Alpha Academy, that's my coaching program. Feel free to stick around for a while. We'll try to answer those at the end. It is opening in exactly 1 week from today. So if you have questions, this is a good time to ask them just at the end. All right.
I was excited to see that there are no copyright items. However, I saw a lot of Disney. Makes me concerned to be a vendor. Will this change?
IP infringement is the bane of my existence and something I did not expect to have to deal with when we started the company in the first place. We've actually talked to a number of different IP lawyers. I talked to a company called marketplacerisk.com. You can check them out. And IP infringement is something that every marketplace currently has had to deal with. And it's the unfortunate reality we live in. A lot of it is whack-a-mole. A lot of it is the legality around whose responsibility is it. At one point we actually did try to attack IP on our site, and our legal counsel actually really cautioned us on the fact that by us going after it, it puts us in a more legally tough situation, because
And it's
how
the
do we?
same for Etsy too.
It's
When people say, why isn't Etsy getting rid of this stuff?
It's such a huge risk to tell someone they can't sell something, because you never know. You might get the one billionaire with a crafty hand who had the money to pay Disney for the IP.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
or when is it IP infringement? When is it
Right.
fan art? When is it? Oh, that fabric is personal use only, but this fabric isn't personal use only, and so you don't know. And then you get into like smaller things. Like, okay, now you're just protecting Disney, but what about that local band that someone made a T-shirt
Right.
for you've never heard of? You're like, well, do they have an ownership to their thing, or the local high school? And so like I think everyone talks about Disney because they're the gorilla in the room, but if you're protecting Disney, you need to also be protecting the little guys as well. And you don't even know when the little guys have a trademark. And it's a very, our biggest thing, and it's not that we don't care, we do, and we're trying to work on it. I think personally, the bigger threat to the industry is the integrity of Handmade, not the IP usage. That's my own personal belief. I'm not trying to speak on behalf of the whole community, but control what you can control, right?
Exactly.
The one thing about the IP infringement I never fully understood is that I don't think people are going on to a marketplace deciding, do I want a mug with Goofy on it, or do I want a mug that's handmade and designed in a very nice way?
Yeah.
It's like this is a $40 mug that was hand thrown pottery. The other was a sublimated Goofy mug. They're not competing. They're not even competition.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because people aren't deciding between those two items. The short story is it's a messy situation, and I'm hoping that over time tools can get put in place with the industry to be more guarding on the IP stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when it gets down to the legal part of it, Congress literally just, I don't remember how many, it was like 6 months ago, I think, maybe last fall, ruled that websites are not responsible for the content that's on their websites as long as there are places or ways in place for the IP holders to get rid of that content.
What was that called?
So
It was
a section, is it 32? I can't remember the section number, but
no, that did come out, and we do have it. And I'll tell you this: we've had Harley Davidson reach out to us. We removed items they asked for. We've had Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch reach out to us. We removed items.
Yep.
Whenever an IP owner reaches out, we do have a whole form, and we respond quickly and we remove the items.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as an aside, and this is just the funny thing to me, you're going to find Starla, you're in for a lot interviewing me because I just pontificate.
Oh, no, that's fine.
It is funny how much the handmade community wants to protect Disney when Disney could care less about the handmade community.
I know that is very true.
Protecting you, trust me. If anything, the handmade Disney would like to squash all of you and just be the ruler of the world and sell everything. But there's so many handmade sellers. Like, how are we going to protect Disney? Why aren't we protecting Disney? And you're like, what's going on right now?
Right. Well, that's what I keep telling everybody, that the same rules that protect Disney are the rules that protect the little guys. Like you said, the same rules that protect Disney are the same laws that are protecting the small artist who makes the small line of, original characters. So guys, right. I actually have a meeting thanks to Na from K Bingo. She is putting me in contact with an IP lawyer who I'm going to be meeting with on the 26th to hopefully get some clarification so that I can create a video for you. It seems like when I make a video about IP, everybody wants to argue it and nobody wants to listen to Starla. I mean, you guys do. You guys are my cool little following, but a lot of people want to argue it when it's the law. So I figure, why not get a lawyer on to basically tell you all the same things, but with
it. We live in a very entitled time where everyone has access to all the information in the world. And I don't think people understand the astronomical task that for legal anything is, let alone copyright, which has big billionaires on both sides and corporations that are approaching like $1 trillion levels of money. Like, this isn't, it's not an easy issue to deal with. Anyway, we'll talk about IP all day.
One quick aside. So we've recently partnered up a little bit with Adobe, and we have an integration to Adobe Express, and some of our team members went to an Adobe conference, like a recent conference, and they've actually started something called contentcredentials.org. Have you seen this?
No.
It's called contentcredentials.org, and they're on and this is similar path. It's not about IP, it's about imagery and stolen imagery and AI art. And Content Credentials is a nonprofit that's being supported by some big businesses to help verify actual original photographs and artwork. So that's the bigger concern, I think, for handmade artists, is how often their photos get stolen and they're used by other resellers and everything else. And Content Credentials is this nonprofit that's working towards that. And I think that's something that we're watching. And I actually have been talking to them as well at Content Credentials about how we can put our support behind them, because between AI art and stolen art, that's where I think handmade artists need to get protection. And Content Credentials is an organization that's kind of starting to work towards a path to actually provide that protection.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to look into that as well.
Shay had asked, can we start a GoImagine shop and sign up for a website at a later date, or do we have to start with the website?
You can start at a later date. So the beauty of the Mosaic website, for those who don't know, is that the way I like to put it, it's one back end, two front ends, right? So you're managing your shop on the back end, just like you have an Etsy seller dashboard, and every product you post will get posted on both your private website and posted in the marketplace. Now, to Shay's question, if you start posting everything just to the marketplace or the marketplace site, when you upgrade and the new one's brought up, all the work you've done exists immediately on the new site. So you're actually getting ahead of the game by starting to post the products and building your logo and your brand and all the other stuff, because as soon as you unlock that subscription, that membership tier, it's going to open up and your site's going to be ready. So you can upgrade at any time.
Yeah. And I actually, every time someone in the GoImagine Facebook group posts their GoImagine shop, I've just been looking at the different ones because I want to see what everyone has done with them. And I've been looking at them on mobile and on desktop. And if I didn't know that they were GoImagine websites, I would just think that they were very, basic domains that someone had built. To me, they just look like, very simple websites with easy navigations. And, if you're like some awesome, website builder and you enjoy doing that, obviously that's not going to be super enticing to you. But for most of us, we don't know what the heck we're doing. And most of us don't have a mark to build it for us.
That was kind of the idea of Mosaic in the first place. Is, you know, this was going back a couple of years. We were looking at kind of the direction the whole world was going, and what we saw a lot of is that Etsy sellers were looking to build their own websites, and they were going to Shopify, they were going to Wix, they were doing WordPress, but those are sometimes way more than they need. You know, if they're complicated, there's so many more options, and then they get very pricey as you add more things in. So we said, let's just create a simple one, and it's not going to be for everyone. For some people, Wix or Shopify is going to be better, but for those who want something that's clean and easy and nice, they want to be able to share it on social and have it on their business card. This is a good introductory shop that gets you an e-commerce site while also being integrated to GoImagine's marketplace. That was kind of the whole concept, and it's been going very well. We've had a lot of people cancel us going from Shopify to Wix, but we've had some that have, I call, graduated from us, where they wanted to go to that. They wanted more things. They went up. It's like, it's all about where you're at in your own business and what you need.
Awesome.
Can I set shipping like I do on Etsy? I have fixed shipping with a lower amount for add-on items.
Yes-ish. So everything I've heard from our community is that our shipping is extremely flexible and actually offers more options than some of what Etsy offers. But I've also heard a lot of, it's different. It's set up differently. So there's sometimes a little frustration getting shipping set up. So what I'll tell you is, out of the gate, USPS real-time shipping is set up automatically. So if you do nothing, if you just start posting your products and put the weight, obviously the weight in the products, it'll automatically calculate and you don't have to touch shipping. But if you want to do flat rate shipping, as it was just mentioned, we can put in flat rate shipping where you have the ability to put in, you know, flat $5 for everything ordered. You can also set different tiers. So if you want to say, you know, if you order more than 2 items, the shipping goes down a little bit. You can modify it that way. You can modify by price. Anything over $35 is free shipping. And we have some help articles that lead with that, but it's very flexible. Just be warned that, you know, there's a little bit of a learning curve, like anything, on how we do it on our side versus how Etsy does it.
Got it. All right.
Okay. Was wondering if through your site would work for more of a handmade luxury brand, 200 plus. I mean, that
like $200+ per item,
Yeah.
you know, with high. And I had a similar question yesterday. Someone asking more about, like, she was looking at jewelry and noticed that the jewelry was all, you know, very affordable, and she was concerned about bringing her very, very expensive pieces onto the platform.
I mean, market prediction can be very difficult.
Well, it's also a new.
Who you are.
I mean, I told her, like, that's a benefit, because if all of your competitors are offering the affordable stuff, what about the person who's looking for the expensive high-end thing?
Yeah, no, we have some high-end sellers. There's not as many, I think, because there's just not as many high-end people who versus those who want to do volume. But yeah, we have some that do some really luxury furniture. We've sold $1,000 pieces of furniture off our site. And one thing to note too is that it's not just on GoImagine, but everything posted on GoImagine we feed into Google Shopping. And so everything goes into Google Shopping algorithm as well. And that's why when people are searching in Google for buying things, GoImagine listings pop up. So from a luxury side of things, you're going to get people not only from GoImagine, but from Google looking for it. That's where SEO comes really into play, and playing the game of SEO and Google to get those rankings up there, because I've found the sellers who have been the most successful on us are not just the ones selling through GoImagine organically, but also the ones that are ranking up in Google, because they're doing what I think everything, Starla, I'm sure you teach everybody around SEO and product photography and all the things that are important besides just posting a product.
Yeah, and you know, he showed me a top secret, but he showed me what GoImagine's algorithm looks like. And as long as you're following the good practices that you already follow for Etsy, and you're being keyword minded, you know, you're already going to be doing all the right things. I didn't notice anything that, like, oh, you know, if you're doing this on Etsy, don't do it on GoImagine, you know, when it comes to SEO. It's all just good keyword practices.
Exactly. No, I fully agree with that.
This is the question that we've been getting the most. So
when are you coming to Canada?
I got like hundreds of comments that just, when are you coming to Canada?
And piggybacking, just because I know I've seen like 5 people ask the inevitability, is it eventually going to also come to Europe?
Yeah, you know, so how do I want to answer this? I mean, so I'll tell you this: if and when we go to the next country, Canada will be the next one. I don't mind saying that. Um, we're trying to be very methodic and very calculated in how we grow and where we go, because what we're not trying to do is just build a replica of other marketplaces, right? And you
Yeah.
probably notice like a lot of what we focus on is shop local. We focus on the makers. We focus on shop small. We're focusing on things that are almost the opposite of the Etsy's of the world, which are focused on global, get products from the Philippines and Brazil and anywhere. It's like, oftentimes I think in business, and you probably teach a lot of the same things for handmade businesses, is you don't want to do exactly what everyone else is doing, because you're just creating a replica that's going to fail because they're ahead of you and bigger. So for us, the reason we started US only was for a couple of reasons. One was because it provided a niche to us that, everything is USA based. So USA sellers and buyers can work together on supporting within the country. From a development standpoint, that's a whole nother thing, because when you look at other countries, you're looking at customs and different shipping carrier integrations and currencies and different languages. And there's a lot of things that go into expanding to another country. And I've seen prior marketplaces come and go because they started too big, too quick, trying to be everything to everyone. And when you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to nobody.
Right.
So the short answer is we're going to get there. I have no doubt we're going to get there. In fact, this year I want to start looking more into what it will take from a technological level to open up to Canada. Like, what are the things we have to be prepared for when we go to Canada? Collecting taxes. All of a sudden we got to collect taxes in Canada. Like, we remit taxes for all of the 50 states right now. That might as well be 50 countries. We remit taxes for 50 states. Well, now another
Don't you have one
country,
person doing that too, like handling all that?
we do, yeah. So we have a tax person who basically every month, that's their job, is to just remit sales tax.
So that's finding more people that'll have to do that job too. So
Yeah. There's a lot involved. I think there's a lot more involved than I think some people think.
yeah.
Um, One thing I'll say though, that there's also the strategic aspect of it. There is the part of the strategy of like, we're not looking to be another Etsy. That's not what we want to do. We want to do what we're doing good. And so opening up to the whole world is something that I don't see ever happening. Going to Canada, maybe parts of Europe, yeah, that could happen. But we're trying to take it slow and steady, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling everyone. I'm like,
mind,
that's good.
I wouldn't mind, Starla, if you want to work up a list of a lot of these Canadian makers that are interested, and we could even have a call with them to discuss what are the things we need to be prepared for that are different in Canada versus the US. So
I have so many.
Because we could start actually crafting the list of these are the things we have to prepare for, because there's the basic stuff I know, but like, how important is French going to be? Do we have to have a French translation for Quebec? Or is it going to be, no, it's not necessarily right away. Well, if it is necessary right away, that's going to change the timeline versus if, oh no, we don't have to worry about having a French translation right away.
Anthony from E-Rank would actually be a great person for that, because he lived in Canada for a long time while E-Rank was running, and now he lives here.
Well, we also have a French version of E-Rank, and we have Sophie, who has to do all the translating and everything because she speaks French. I didn't even think about that aspect. So I definitely could assist with that.
Let alone privacy stuff.
Yeah. So that makes complete sense.
There's a lot to think about. There's a lot more that I think people think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kept getting these comments on the video where everyone's like, oh, the rest of the world is left out. I'm like, don't think about it as being left out. Think about it as waiting in line, because, it's not like they've closed the doors to everyone.
No.
We have to give GoImagine the time and space to grow the right way, because a lot of marketplaces have grown the wrong way, where they open to everyone, but then they have a small support staff that's trying to deal with everyone. Every platform is going to have bad eggs. Every platform is going to have people selling things that they shouldn't be. Every platform is going to have scammers who join. And when you open up to the entire world, you have to immediately have a support team that is able to handle all of these issues coming from the entire world. the objective isn't to get GoImagine to blow up overnight. In fact, when Jon and I first started talking in April, I told him, I'm like, how do you want to approach this? Because I have a really big audience and we need to be careful, because if I start talking about GoImagine, you're going to get like tons of new signups.
Mhm.
Can your current support structure handle that coming in a wave as opposed to a drip, drip, drip trickle like you're probably used to?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we experienced that. I'm assuming Tuesday, Jon, you probably saw abnormal sign up numbers just
Yeah.
because that video did so well.
No, we've absolutely seen a pop this week, which is great, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Starla.
Oh, of course.
But when it comes to the countries, yeah, we actually block a lot of countries around the world from even seeing our site because we don't need their traffic because they can't buy from us anyway. And
Right.
you know, a lot of sites get I'll call it not fake traffic, but they get a lot of traffic that's ranking on
Mm-hmm.
analytics that is non-traffic because bots and things are coming to you. And we've actually cut a lot of them off because we're like, we don't need the traffic anyway. We want quality traffic, not just anyone who's going to come from any country.
Right.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people talking about how I believe French is mandatory for Quebec and Canada. Y'all guys also have to consider this business is incorporated in the United States. So it gets even more complicated because then you have to pick and choose what laws you actually have to abide by.
There's things to think about. And trust me, it's not a lack of desire. I would like to open in Canada tomorrow. I would like to open in Canada tomorrow. But then, all right, so let's do this. So then we would have to pivot to start working on some of the Canadian stuff. And a lot of our sellers right now are asking for when this will be developed, or that will be developed, or the other thing will be developed. And we've got a small dev team that's building towards this. And we have a whole. If you go to feedback.goimagine, it's goimagine.sleekplan.app. I can share this link to you, but we have a whole voting board where our members can vote what they want built next, because we really want to take into account what our community wants and what they're looking to have built. Now that the point is if we pivot to do a lot of development just to get open to Canada, that slows down some of the development we're doing for our existing members who are waiting on other things that we should be developing. And this is where priorities are always competing. You know, I mean, it's the nature of, I think, a software company or companies in general, when you have competing priorities and you've got to make the tough decision on which one is going to be the one you focus on first.
Yeah. Well, I will be sure to keep you guys updated on it, you know, and Jon, we can absolutely hold a meeting with Brian from eRank is in Canada. He's our Canadian ambassador. He has a shop with over 100,000 sales, and he commented and said that he would be like first in line to sign up when you open to Canada, and he's very business minded. So I'd love to get you in contact with him.
Or it even begs the question, and I always caution myself because Steph, who is in the office right now, kills me when I say things that are out loud to communities that I can't. I'm willing to talk, Starla,
right?
without
to chat
any
about
promises. But there's the idea. There was the floating idea I said today is like, or should there be a Canadian version of the marketplace for Shop Local in Canada? So it's a separate marketplace. GoImagine Canada that we focus on, where it becomes a Canadian version of it. So we have our Shop Local USA, and they are different. I mean, that's a whole nother idea that maybe the Canada needs something like that. I don't know. It doesn't mean we can't attack that, but I would love to maybe talk with a Canadian contingent of people. Their needs were, what their wants were, how should we go about it? And then we just slowly started building until we got to beta and launched. Maybe it's time to do something similar with the Canadian market to decide what does the Canadian market want.
Right.
Sorry, we had a 2-second long disconnection there.
Oh, did I blip out there again?
YouTube's been no, you're good. YouTube's been kind of crappy lately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What? I've never heard of a tech company having issues.
What?
Never.
Google?
Never, ever.
Come on.
Tina had asked, I too worry about copyright art on GoImagine and items that clearly are not handmade and being resold. Will there be a portfolio vetting process for future joiners to avoid this?
Yeah, well, so first off, the handmade integrity matters a lot to us. That's where I want to be very clear. So if you find things that are clearly being resold, we want to know about it because those we take down all the time. The process right now is for those who have signed up, already, there is an application process for people to sign up. So we physically, a human touches every application and reviews the application for its handmade integrity before we accept anybody. Doesn't mean people sometimes don't lie. Doesn't mean people don't sometimes just check the boxes and continue. But that's the first vetting process. And we do believe that is hugely been very, very, very effective, because a lot of people, I probably give up when they start to realize through that application process that there's gates in place versus other marketplaces where you can sign up and start selling without talking to anybody. Second is we have what's called a handmade integrity team. This is a volunteer team of our members that we've put together that are focused on two things. They're focused on, one is on defining handmade. So if we ever expand our definition of handmade, it'll be done through the community, not through us. Things right now, the question around comes up a lot around professional photography and the fact that they don't have their own printers, so they can't do their own printing. But right now, you have to do your own printing on GoImagine. There's a lot of little AI art came up recently in the Handmade Integrity team. So that's one. And two, the Handmade Integrity team, we have a private group where they also are scouring and always catching any infringers on our handmade policy, and we're taking them off. So that's kind of how we handle it today. As time goes on, I'm sure we'll have to add more layers and different things. But if anyone ever does see something that's clearly not handmade, we want to know about it, because while I kind of brushed off the IP infringement subject, the handmade is a totally different thing for us, and that's where we need to be vigilant on making sure things stay handmade and GoImagine.
Right, because the IP thing, that's a pain, but that's a legal pain.
Right.
Whereas the handmade part, that is an integrity thing, and you guys have the ability to dictate that without there having to be, legal intervention. Whereas with the IP
Absolutely.
stuff, any lawyer is going to tell you, and so far the people that I've talked to, they've all said the same thing, that it is just a massive risk to the company to begin taking responsibility for those things. Because if you do it for some things, you do it for all things, and new trademarks are filed every second of every day. And there's just no way in real time to be able to monitor all of them. And you can't just do some of them. You can't just take out the Disney. You have to take out everything. So,
not to mention, I've even heard, I'm not sure if you've heard this, but there are people who will report competitor IP shops to try and get rid of their competitors. Hey, I found all this Mickey stuff, stake it down, because I'm selling Mickey stuff and I want you to take down the stuff I'm competing against. And so now you're taking things off because competitors are telling you to take them off. And there's that whole legal aspect.
right.
You can just, it's dicey. It is dicey.
Yeah. And I always tell my sellers too, I'm officially licensed by some of the biggest authors in the world. Like, I pay them a commission. I have licensing agreements. And I don't want a marketplace to, think that I'm doing something wrong if it's some automated system. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different scenarios there. But I think we've touched on copyright enough, unless a really unique question pops up. But
We're handling copyright in the best copyright handling way. There
right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amy had said that she makes text-only greeting signs that are also gift card holders, but that your customer service said that it's not crafty enough for handmade. And she's asking about her own mosaic site. Amy, what I'm wondering is, are you hand making them, or is it something where you've, pre-selected a font and you're just kind of printing them?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It sounds like there's a little bit. I would just be curious to know more about the actual situation there. But mosaic is the same thing as having GoImagine. It's not one or the other as of right now.
As of right now, everything posted on Mosaic is also posted in GoImagine, which is part of the beauty of it. You post one product, it's getting posted on two sites. But it also means that the people using Mosaic need to follow the same handmade guidelines.
Yeah. The Geek Authority had asked, what are the exact costs for signing up with GoImagine to be a seller? There's a lot of different ones.
Yeah. So we have 3 plans, right? The plans are Launch, Thrive, and Mosaic. They provide different things, but they start at the lowest plan is $2.50 a month. It's outrageous. The highest plan is $10 a month. So that's the monthly fee. When it comes to the percentages taken out, GoImagine takes 5% of every sale, And then our chosen payment processor is Stripe, which is, for those who don't know, Stripe is one of the biggest
I
payment
love it.
processors in the
That's
world.
what we use.
Yeah, it was Stripe. Stripe, they had a really good integration for marketplaces. But anyway, they take 2.9% plus 30 cents per sale. So in total, it's 7.9%, call it 8%, and 30 cents per sale. So 8% plus 30 cents. There's no other hidden fees. There's no, there's just nothing else. That's it. You're responsible for your own shipping, obviously. And the question might come up around taxes. Yes, we collect taxes for you and we remit all the taxes for you. That includes on Mosaic, which is a big benefit for people who don't want to handle taxes. When you use Shopify or Wix, you've got to handle your own taxes. When you have your own website with us, you don't have to handle your own taxes. We handle it for you.
Yeah, the state sales tax, that's a big, bonus that you just don't have to worry about it. And I definitely see that being a huge benefit there. Jennifer had said, I started filling up my shop. I have to say the support is awesome. I'm so technically challenged, but Chris Carlson helped me out so much. I don't know who that is. Is that?
He's one of our support guys. Yeah, he's in support.
Well, that's awesome. Well, tell him that he was shouted out today during the
right.
Friday Bean.
No, I'm glad you shouted him out. He's support people. They're the unsung heroes.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
Chris does all of our Etsy imports right now. So if you're sending your CSV file in, there's a good chance Chris is the one. I mean, occasionally I'll jump in and do it. Steph will jump in, but Chris is doing most of them, and Chris handles most of our email support. So Chris has been a wonderful addition to our team.
That's awesome. Evers Art Shop asked, is there an app yet that I'm missing, or is there no app yet? I just added my best-selling listing. Do I get an email if I made a sale? So that was a two-part. Is there an app, and do I get an email if I make a sale?
We actually just launched our app about 2 weeks ago. So yes, there is a GoImagine app both on Android and iPhone. So look it up. It's the buyer app. It's not a seller app, although you can log into our seller dashboard through it. So if you do log into our app, you can go to the seller dashboard and still use the app for the seller dashboard. So
I prefer that. All in one rather than Etsy making you have two different apps.
Yeah, no, this is the same app. So the app just launched. We'd love feedback on it if you want to check it out. And then what was the other question? The other was,
do you get an email if you make a sale, like any type of notification?
You get an email if you get a sale, and if you put in your phone number and consent to text messages, you also get a text message when you get a sale. So awesome. If you so there's actually a help article for that if you look up text messaging, but yeah, you can also get text messages for a sale.
Awesome. All right. I'm sure that this one has probably been asked multiple times.
It has been asked many times, yes.
So we'll just answer it all in one. Is print on demand allowed on GoImagine?
Short answer is no. Print on demand is not allowed. Drop shipping is not allowed either. This is a hot topic, much like a lot of the hot topics, and print on demand is not allowed for a number of reasons. One, and the biggest reason I think as of right now, print on demand is not allowed is because it's a very slippery slope.
It is.
Right.
I agree.
It's one of those things that as soon as you open that floodgate, it can get messy quick, because now you're determining like, well, this is art, but that's print on demand, but this is not art, and this is print on demand, and what is handmade and what isn't handmade. Our rule right now is pretty simple, and that is to be handmade, your hands have to touch it. It's kind of a straightforward handmade. Digital is a little different, but even then, you've got to digitally make it yourself. Where we see things could open up for POD, and this is a could, and this is more on our handmade integrity team to decide, not me, but I'm happy to talk about it, is there are certain aspects of POD that I think still qualify for handmade that are left out in the cold on GoImagine. One of those is high-end photography, right? You're doing your own high-end photography prints, and you just don't have that quality of a printer, but you did take the time to create the art, because high-end photography is challenging, especially if you're doing nature walks and taking pictures of birds in the middle of a mountain. Now you've put a lot of handmade work into that, So how are we going to allow that, right, while making sure it doesn't open up to someone just writing hello in a funny font and having Printify put it on a mug, and now you're selling a handmade item, which is just the word hello on it, right?
Exactly. Or stealing a photo.
or stealing a photo, which happens, or
Yeah.
stealing a photo. And then you get into AI art, which is this whole thing is like you have the robots make the art, then you have Printify print and send it out. And now at what point is a human even involved in the handmade item, right?
Yeah.
So the best way to put it is we're being very careful. And I've always said it's easier to slowly open the gate than start with it wide open and then try and shut it on people afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
So we're being careful, but I will tell you that it's already in discussion with our HIT team, the Handmade Integrity team. Art prints for really high-end art that are done as really good prints. I mean, I think that should be allowed on GoImagine. It's just that how do you define when something is good enough and when it's not?
Exactly.
That's the big question. And I don't want to get into the position of having to judge somebody's art either. You know, we're not a curated, like, you're not good enough for our site. If you're handmade, you're allowed on our site. If you follow the rules, you're allowed on the site. So that was a long way of saying POD is not allowed right now.
Well, and we had a lot of comments about it on the Tuesday video, and you guys know my primary shop, Books and Cold Brews, is POD. And when Jon, told me that GoImagine wasn't POD, I wasn't upset about it, because to be perfectly honest, Handmade needs a place, and POD really kind of shoved Handmade out of Etsy.
Big time.
And even as a POD seller myself, I have to do POD right now if you guys want to keep the Friday Bean and the Tuesday videos and me working at eRank and running Handmade Alpha Academy and doing all that. I can't make 600 tumblers as well. It's just not possible for me. But my thought was that, okay, this is just one thing that I can't do there. What can I do? So because I have licensing agreements with these authors, and I consider myself a pretty darn good artist when I've got the time to do it, I'm going to start drawing some of the book characters that, for these authors that I'm licensed with. I got to go through and submit my request to get my licensing agreements for the artwork. But I'm going to create digital coloring pages of these products. And then it'll still be my niche. It'll still be my area of expertise. It'll still be my overall brand, mine and Michelle's. But I've been able to adapt the thing that I already do into something that's a little bit different, because I'm going to respect the fact that if I want to go shopping and I want to buy something handmade, I'm not going to have to sift through 600 POD listings if that's not what I'm actually looking for. Whereas if I wanted something like that, which I do buy POD items, but I would go to Etsy for it.
Well, and there's a place to sell everything.
Exactly.
Right? There's a place to sell everything, and
exactly.
And then when you get to the sites where everything is sold on them, you end up in a yard sale.
Yeah.
Where it's just like everything is there. But yeah. No, I appreciate that.
We had a few people kind of following up, like, what if I make the designs and things, but I actually use a production partner? I'm assuming they have the things shipped to them and then actually ship them themselves. Maybe they don't have the experience with the type of equipment or whatever.
Yeah, so we actually do, or okay, if you're actually, it's original artwork and you're doing the shipping. So you're shipping it out, your hands are touching it, and it's your own original artwork, that does qualify.
Yeah.
But it has to be shipped by you. I think that's part of the charm of Handmade in the first place. I mean, if I was doing that, I'd probably sign everyone on the way out anyway. It's like,
and that would make it more special. That would add value to it, because print on demand packaging sucks. And I'm a print on demand business who feels embarrassed by the packages that go to my customers because I'm not touching them.
Absolutely. And there's a place for it, but it's, So that is okay.
Yeah. And then somebody had said, would it be okay to make the designs and then self-print them on products such as mugs?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. So if you're doing your own printing, it is more, as long as it's still, your own original design. If you're doing your own printing, that's perfectly fine. We encourage that. And that's where things become a little, gray as well, because a lot of people can do sublimation and things like that at their own homes, and they do really high quality. And that's where it's handmade. You were making the item, and that's perfectly fine on GoImagine.
Perfect. Cindy had asked, how many prospective buyers are subscribed on GoImagine? I'm assuming you're just asking how many buyers does GoImagine have?
Yeah. So we're about 10x, which is decent in the industry. 10x buyers and sellers. The traffic wise, because I know that's obviously going to come up.
Oh,
We
of
get
course.
between, I mean, like get ahead of some of the questions. We get anywhere from 100 to 200,000 visits a month, which again per seller is about industry average, I would call it. But the buyers have been growing. We've been almost doubling our GMS from last year to this year. Last month we were up 44% on our gross merchandise sales, and 44% up from what was last month, May? So the May before that. So the growth is happening, and it's exciting for us to see this growth happen. We just got to keep pushing it.
And you do have sellers that are making a substantial amount of money
Oh
on
yeah,
GoImagine as well.
yeah. Oh no, our largest seller is going to be doing, I don't know, $60,000 this year, something like
Yeah.
that. Now we're not $1 million sellers on our site, but you know, as we talk about kind of like, because I know this is what people want to hear as well, is like, where GoImagine's going, what is our strategy for growth, how are we going to end up? I mean, I've done other interviews and I kind of know the questions that are coming.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not someone to beat around the bush. We also talk about Etsy a lot, and I think Etsy to a small degree gets a bad rap because at GoImagine, we're fans of Etsy. I think Etsy's a great company, and I think makers can make good money on Etsy. Um, we hope that to a large degree, we're just going to be the yin to Etsy's yang. You know what I mean? We're gonna provide something very different that is needed in the world, where people can have a combined income across Etsy and another platform, right? Some have left Etsy completely and they're just on GoImagine, and that's great. We'll take them. That's wonderful. But I don't think anyone should look at any savior as the answer to all their needs. I
Yeah.
think the right thing is looking at like, Etsy and GoImagine and your own site, maybe on Mosaic. It's all these supplements to build your brand. And then you can see the combined traffic, the combined sales, the combined strategy you have. That's what matters to you as an individual business, right?
Exactly. Pennies
Uh,
make dollars. All of those little
yes.
avenues and additional revenue streams. And I mean, my revenue streams, I make money from probably 10 different places, maybe more than that.
Right.
And usually you'll have one that brings in the majority, and for now it's probably going to be Etsy for most of you, if you're on other smaller platforms. But together at the end of the year, you start looking at how much you've made and you realize that all of these things do stack. And when your investment is only $10 a month on GoImagine, or even just the how much is the 250?
250. Yeah. $2.50.
250. Yeah, that it's definitely to me, I think it's worth it.
Mhm.
It's just, and you also have that bit of security, because if your Etsy shop, if something happens to it, you've got to figure out how you're going to get that message out to your buyers. And it's as easy as going in to your link in your bios and swapping it out for
Mhm.
the new link and making a post that says, hey, our Etsy is down, but our products are still available. Buy
Right.
here. And then you link your Mosaic, for example.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah. Somebody had asked, I was checking the platform yesterday and was wondering if there was a way to see how or what a given shop has sold.
Not right now. We don't have. I know that's something that Etsy does. We don't have list number of sales publicly. I mean, I suppose reviews is one way to tell. Although we do imports of reviews as well. I mean, the short answer is no. We don't like the whole number of sales things is a double-edged sword to us. We've talked about it, and for those who have a lot of sales, it's helpful. But for those who are new, it seems like a big detriment. You
Mhm.
know, and number of sales doesn't even equate to quality. I don't think.
No,
I
not at
think
all.
I think
Not at all.
reviews. I think reviews is a more powerful testament. So I would look at reviews on our site more than I would look at number of sales, which we don't have now.
And maybe it's just my own bias here. I would be more willing to buy from a shop with no sales and no reviews on GoImagine if, for example, everything was filled out well and the buyer profile was filled out and I was seeing, that friendly face. I would
Mhm.
feel a little bit more security there than I would feel on Etsy buying from a shop that has no sales and no reviews. You know, this is just me personally, because I've been burned on Etsy in the past, whereas GoImagine has more of an application process, and I feel just a touch safer. And again, that might just be
Yeah.
me, but feel free to let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Somebody had asked, how many items can you post on I'll reword it. How many items can you post on GoImagine per each account tier?
Sure. So on the lowest tier, you can do 20 products. It's not like Etsy where they count every time it's sold, it's a new product or something they charge you.
Yeah, it's
So
stupid.
for us, so for us, it's 20 listings, I guess you'll call it, that can be sold a limited amount of times. The next tier up is 200. Is that right? Thrive is 200. Yeah. So the next tier up is 200 products. And then the Mosaic tier is 1,000 products.
Perfect. That's awesome. Do you have anybody with 1,000 products?
It's usually the digital sellers. Those are the only
Okay, that
ones.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's the digital sellers. But I mean, if you're doing handmade products, 1,000's a tall order.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you're all one of a kind, I could see it. But if you're also replicating those items and you've got, that's how I was with my jewelry. I had like a little assembly line where I'd work on one, work on one, work on one, work on one, and then I'd start over like a typewriter. And yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody did ask if blogs were going to be a possibility in the future for GoImagine, being able to add your own blog post with your Mosaic.
Yes. So that's something we're already looking into. I would like to get blogs into Mosaic. So there's a few things we want to do to Mosaic, and we'll probably be doing a Mosaic survey soon to figure out what our Mosaic users want next. But blogs is definitely high up on the list for that.
Perfect. We had also had questions from Handmade Alpha Academy students if HAA members are getting any type of referral code or something. Did you want to briefly talk about, for the HAA students, what you're going to be doing for them? And this will apply to those who enroll in June too, plus everybody who's been in since 2018. You guys, you get everything.
So I'm excited. Early next week, I'll be completing it. I started already. We'll be doing an intro video to GoImagine for the HAA community. So I know you have that starting in a week or so.
Yeah, 1 week.
And anyone who's part of that community is going to get a secret code that gives you 2 months free. So there's an incentive to join the HAA group or that class. So there will be a secret code that'll be in the video. So I'm not going to give it to anybody right now, but there will be 2 months free when HAA starts that you can get through the video next week.
Awesome. And if they signed up already, like maybe they saw the video on Tuesday and they already signed up for GoImagine, can that still be applied?
If they're part of your student community and they signed up coming up, we can, I'll make sure I work something out for them. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so that is coming, and all of my students, I mean, just watch for the email from me. You guys are about to get the big email with all the updates I've made. Christina Nicole is redoing the Product Photography Essentials workshop for you guys from the ground up. She's redoing the whole thing. You guys are getting free access to that. You're getting the GoImagine bonus, and you're getting that list of updates. And the new students who come in, it'll just already be there. So you don't need to be notified about the updates because you don't know that they're even updates. You're just going to get in there and see all the fun stuff. Let's see. Sharon said, I know it's easy to import existing Etsy listings. I heard that with new import, you have to delete duplicates. Can that be avoided?
No, if you're going to do a second import, the problem is right now. So when you download your products from Etsy, you're getting a CSV file, which is like an Excel spreadsheet. And each row is a new product. And Etsy doesn't let you choose what you're exporting. You're just exporting your entire list. That said, depending if you know how to use Excel, it's not hard to delete out the listings you don't want us to import in. So I would recommend, if you want to do another import, a second import, if you have 100 products, but you're only looking to import 10 of them, you just delete the rows you don't want imported. So when you send it to us, we're only importing what you want us to import. That's a lot easier than us importing the whole list again and you having to delete all the duplicates. I mean, if you know Excel, it's pretty darn easy. You just delete the rows. But I understand not everybody's an Excel master. So, but that's the easiest thing I can say around if you want to do a second import of Etsy again, which we'll do for you. But that's where duplicates happen because Etsy will export all your products.
Perfect. Hey, Ruth, your question about the CSV file, that sounds more like a get
Customer
with,
support issue.
yeah, maybe get with GoImagine customer support, because that one seems like one that it might be on user error there. Science and Snark had asked a really great question. Where do you log in as a seller? If I go to the GoImagine homepage and I sign in, it thinks I'm a shopper.
Oh, thinks you're a shopper. Yeah. So obviously, oop, did I just go black?
Nope.
No, you're there.
I'm there. Okay. It just paused there for a second. So when you scroll to, I know people, this is where Etsy's a little bit different than us. If you scroll to the bottom of GoImagine, you'll see a big little link that says seller dashboard under sell. So it's at the bottom of the page, which we're actually going to change. We're going to add it to the top too soon. We focus so much on the buyers because the buyer experience matters so much that everything on the top is really more buyer focused. But just scroll to the bottom. You'll see a link that says seller dashboard and just click seller dashboard, and that brings you into it.
Perfect. All right. You want Jessica's?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Jessica had Mr. Moore's sick, if you guys haven't noticed yet.
Yeah, you keep hearing me clear my throat. I'm trying not to talk too much.
Yeah, he keeps going and getting cough drops. Jessica said, I'm looking forward to opening a shop. I just can't decide at what level. Can you tell me about the benefits of the website? I already have a domain that I purchased. Would I be able to use that? So Jessica, I assume that you mean your domain name. I mean, technically with a domain name, if you go into, your domain host, you can set that to redirect to any link you want to. So that would be more on your domain.
Your domain can work with Mosaic, no problem at all. We actually give you what are called the name servers. And so if you have it with GoDaddy or Namecheap or anywhere else, you can use it with us. The only time you couldn't use it is if you have Shopify and Shopify has control of your domain. You'd have to transfer it to another registrar before you can use it, because in some capacities, Shopify restricts where you can use your domain. But if you have it on a normal registrar like Namecheap or GoDaddy or any of those other ones, yeah, there's no problem with us. Now, what are the benefits? Here's the short story benefit to me, I think, is assuming you're self-promoting, which most sellers do. You want to self-promote a site that really isn't leading them to your competition or leading them to buy from someone else, right? And if you're promoting your Etsy shop, if you're promoting your GoImagine shop, the reality is you're also promoting them to go to a place where they could find other things to buy that aren't from you, right? With Mosaic, you're getting a private website with your private domain that when you self-promote, they're only seeing your products, they're only searching your shop, they're only seeing your categories. And so you're really getting a captive audience when you're promoting it, in this case, Mosaic. That's the biggest benefit, I think, that you're going to hear from most people around Shopify or Wix or any of these, is that you own your audience, is that you have control that isn't leading them to others. So that's what Mosaic is. Mosaic is the ability for you to have your own website while still being part of the marketplace. Doesn't mean that there aren't times where I think newer sellers should just use their GoImagine link or use their Etsy link, because if you're new, yeah, you want to get going, you just start small. This is where I think you're graduating to wanting to have your own private website and connecting your own private domain, which we certainly can do for you.
Awesome.
Is it just one charity for the whole site, or can each seller choose what charity they want to focus on?
Right now, we've chosen the 4 charities we donate to. They're all children's charities. And if you go on to GoImagine to where it says charity partners at the bottom, you'll see the charities we donate to. This is actually a topic of discussion that we are having right now on how we can expand this so that either buyers can choose. Do you guys remember Smile from Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah. They still have it.
Yeah, Smile, they canceled that, right?
No, I think you can still do it if you go to smile.amazon.com. They just don't advertise it.
I thought they end-of-lifed it. I think it's gone.
Maybe not.
Yeah, Smile, there was a big thing where they basically it's gone. It's
redirected. Yeah, they got rid of it.
They got rid of it. Well, it's Amazon. But anyway, so I think the big dream for me is to get to the point where people can choose the charity. It would still have to be children focused. We want to have children's charities being our primary focus, but allow people to choose, especially if they want to choose a local charity. That said, we wanted to be cautious in the early years, because I rather donate, like we've donated $20,000, $25,000 to charity so far, right? Which is not a ton of money, but it's money. I don't want to give a nickel to 500 charities. You're not making
That's also
impact
true.
that way. You know, you rather give thousands of dollars to certain charities because they can actually do something now with the money.
Exactly.
So as we grow, we definitely have ideas of expanding that to allow people to choose charities. We just got to methodically figure out how we're going to do that.
That's also difficult too, even with us looking for different charities, just because so many of them aren't great at being charities. They'll take in like, oh yeah, we raised $1 million for charity, and like $5,000 of it actually went towards the cause, and the rest went into pockets.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot more widespread than I think people know.
Yeah, we do a lot of research.
Like, CharityWatch.org and Charity Navigator. Those are two good sites to look at, so you can see kind of like, you know, they analyze charities and help you know where the money's going.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. At this point, about what percentage of buyers are actually shop owners? When do you see GoImagine being a more well-known online shopping destination?
Yeah, I mean, the majority are not shop owners. I know that. You know, I mean, like, so like when we give our statistics a lot for unique visitors, the vast majority are buyers. You know, when we become a household name, I mean, that's going to be, it's tough to tell what our growth trajectory is going to be like. To a large degree, the more sellers we have, the more buyers will come just because of what we're feeding into the world. As I mentioned before, as an example, and I don't think a lot of makers realize this. I said earlier how we feed into Google Shopping, right? So right now we've got 100, 100,000, 150,000 products going into Google Shopping. Well, as more makers come on board, more products are getting imported into the SEO, Google Shopping, Google world, which brings more buyers, which then become repeat buyers because they like GoImagine. They come back another time, become repeat buyers, right? So the more sellers you get, the more buyers you're going to get. That's just, you know, it's just that's how the network effects work. So to a degree, our growth on the sellers is also going to determine our growth on the buyer side.
Yeah.
Because I know, I'll tell you this, I've had a lot of buyers a lot of times will say, hey, yeah, I checked out GoImagine. I wanted to buy X. It wasn't there. So I went somewhere else to find it, right? Because it's inventory. It's all about inventory. Now, if that seller was on our platform, they would have gotten the sale. But instead, they're on a platform like Etsy where they have 500 of them all selling the same thing. And we just need one of you to be the one that someone's going to find and buy from, you know?
I think that right now, and this is one of the things that I feel like I was at least attempting to express in the video on Tuesday, it's that Jon doesn't have shareholders giving him marketing money right now. He doesn't have shareholders who are helping GoImagine. Instead, it's us. It's the sellers, and that's why I was encouraging in that video that we all start talking about it. If we all start talking about it and we get loud about it and we start mentioning it and we start telling our buyer, especially those of you who are passionate about GoImagine's mission, not everybody is. Some of you guys, you know, aren't going to be, and that's totally fine. But for those of you who are just like, yes, I love this. Yes, I just want it to be bigger. This is the point where for $0, you can help by mentioning it. When you hear people say, you know, man, Etsy sucks, man, Etsy isn't doing that great, saying, you know, this is why I am personally supporting GoImagine. I had a lot of people in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community commenting on the post like, oh, it's pointless, there's no traffic, it's pointless, I was there for a year and didn't make any sales. And, you know, my thought is that, first of all, what did you do in that time to kind of help? You know, no marketplace is going to start out with a bunch of traffic. You know, we all kind of have to work together. I feel like by making that video and as well as it did, and you guys all being here, I mean, there's 525 of you here right now, with us all here together, clearly enjoying the idea of this platform. What I would love to see us all do is help so that more of GoImagine's marketing budget is able to be redirected into creating ads for buyers, as opposed to having to continuously recruit new sellers to fill these gaps like what Jon is talking about. Because if buyers come to the platform and can't find anything, they're going to leave. Like he said, they're not going to be satisfied.
Yeah. And so and I love everything you're saying, Starla. To a large degree, GoImagine is a social experiment. And it's a social experiment in the sense of, does a community care enough to actually support what it is they want? Right? Because
Exactly.
we live in a world of instant gratification, right? We live in a world where things come out of nowhere and they become huge. We also live in a world where I think the majority of people would say, man, I wish it wasn't owned only by corporations. I wish it wasn't owned only by Wall Street. I wish it wasn't just Facebook trying to steal my identity. And every time I walk in my house and I talk to Alexa, I'm worried that they're, recording me for the FBI. Like whatever it is, we all wish we're not in this Big Brother world, but then we all rush out and only support Big Brother. Right. Yep. And why do we support Big Brother? Well, because they have all the money and Big Brother will. So if you look at just how the trajectory of how a lot of these companies have grown, whether it's Etsy or eBay or Amazon or Wayfair or you name it, they've all taken venture capital money with the intent of going public and the intent of then making massive amounts of profits for their shareholders, right? And then you have a contingent of people saying, well, we wish that wasn't the case. We wish that didn't happen. Well, there's literally only one other way that would not happen. And that's if that community supports a community-driven platform, one that's not focused on doing that other stuff. But that means you're not going to get the millions of venture capital to come out of nowhere. I mean, look at Temu, right? Everybody knows Temu. They came out of nowhere, right? Temu has spent $1 billion in marketing, because they have billionaires putting into it. And now, do you think Temu is going to care about the vendors or the community?
Absolutely not.
Does anybody give a shit about Temu? No, but they have all the money to get out there rushing it. So the only way anything builds in the other way is by a community supporting it. Right now, that said, it's up to GoImagine to do a few things, I believe. One is prove day in and day out that we're in it for the community, which I hope people are seeing. I think it's to provide value where we can. That's where Mosaic comes around. That's one of the big reasons we started Mosaic. That's why we started Maker Circle, is because we're saying, you know what, we want to provide value to our members above and beyond just the traffic, right? We got to provide value. And that's where we come out with all these other tools. But it's going to be interesting where things go, because it's been a merry-go-round of marketplaces over the years. And the sad thing is that everybody wants it. That's the sad thing. Everybody wants it. Everyone wants it. And the crazy part is, do you remember who Chad Dickerson is, the prior CEO of Etsy?
I know all their CEOs.
Yeah. So Chad, I kid you not, he was quoted in shareholder minutes saying that the reason for our explosive growth was because of sellers promoting their own shops. That's how Etsy grew. It was through from them promoting their own shops. Then a tipping point happens where they have enough money, enough sellers, enough inventory, enough buyer traffic, that then the spin keeps happening. So from 2006 to call it 2010, 11, 12, it was Etsy sellers promoting Etsy. But now we're in a world where people already have Etsy. They might not like Etsy. And they're saying, well, why should I even bother promoting myself? Etsy's going to bring all my traffic, right? But then in this other side of their mouth, they're saying, but I wish Etsy didn't do this. I wish they didn't do that. I wish they didn't do this. So it's going to be, it's an interesting time. And whether it's GoImagine or it's the next marketplace, who knows? But the only way this will ever happen, the only way the handmade industry will ever have what the handmade industry wants, is when the handmade industry supports it. And I know that's being very passionate on my end, but I mean, like, what else are you expecting? I mean, like, you even, like, I don't know. I don't want to get on my soapbox. This is not my interview. This is your interview.
No, they're loving it. Everybody is agreeing in the comments for sure.
I will tell you this. If we overnight, right now we have 6,000 sellers, right? 6,000 sellers. Etsy has 9 million, right? If overnight 50,000 sellers joined us, which is still a small fraction of Etsy. If we had 50,000 sellers overnight, we would have $1 million marketing budget, and we would have a much larger development team that was building faster and quicker, all supported by the sellers and by the vendors, right? One thing we haven't discussed, and I know I'm totally taking over this interview now,
Oh,
is
no,
the
you're
fact that
fine.
we're going to be we're still working towards it, but we're going to be having a vote in a nomination soon for our community to elect board members onto our board, because we believe that the vendors deserve representation, not just outside, but inside the company, right? And that's something that, to my knowledge, no marketplace has ever done. Because why would they want to do that? You would start hearing all the things you don't want to hear. You know, you would have known 5 years before they went public when they were going public if you were on the board, right? So what we want to do is become as open kimono as possible for our vendors, which includes giving them board seats and representation in our company, which is something we're working towards. We haven't gotten there yet, but you know, you can take this to the bank. This is something we're doing. There's a better way. There's just a better way to do everything that's been happening. But if everybody says, I'm going to wait to join until they're big, like that's like
It'll
saying
never happen.
that's like saying I'm not going to feed my child until he's grown up. Well, he'll be dead a long time if you're just
Right.
looking for a big kid. You know, you've got to start when they're small and feed them.
We
You
we
know,
had
and
we had a
go ahead.
great question that goes with everything that you've been saying that just came in, where Maria and Lisa said, I want Maria's question answered. She said, so why should we trust you that you won't do what Etsy did?
Yeah.
How can you
Well,
listen to this man talk about
that's
Handmade? How can you listen to him and
it.
then not? It sounds so different than when you listen to any other CEO talk.
Also, you have
Yeah.
public evidence of him saying that he won't. So
Screenshot this.
Yeah,
Screenshot this. Hurry.
screenshot it, record it. Listen, and it goes back, and you know what? This is the problem, and I understand the skepticism. Everything I'm saying right now isn't because I don't get it. I get it. Etsy is your last relationship, and they cheated on you, and so the next person coming around, you're wondering, you're more skeptical on, are they going to cheat on you, and you're scorned, and you have PTSD from the last one. And again, I love Etsy. I'm not trying to trash Etsy. I'm just saying that's how people are feeling, right? One thing I'll mention to, I think it was Maria who asked the question, or whoever it was, is one thing I just did say, it might have come in after that, is we are going to be putting maker board members on our board, right? And that's going to be, I think, one step towards more transparency, right? And the transparency to the point where you have a vote in the company, you have people who are legally allowed to hear it all, right? So if we were going to screw you, you would hear it way before it would get to you. Unlike the rest of the world where it's like, you know, Etsy comes out with their price hike, even though they knew 6 months earlier it was coming, kind of a thing. And I mean, I can give you my own personal, you know, I guess the best way to put it is follow the money. You know, Etsy took venture capital money in 2006. Most people don't realize that. Within the first 12 months of Etsy, I could have told you they were going public and they were not going to stay handmade, because you follow the money. Follow the money. If you follow the money and you follow the owners, we are a private company and we're going to stay private. We have never taken, nor are we going to take venture cap money. If we ever do, you're going to know right away the path we're taking. And maybe that's what everyone wants, because then you'll have another Etsy that you all hate, but it has more traffic right away. I don't know. But like,
well, that's what Maria said. She said, I agree, Starla, but money corrupts. Many good people have done worse. Here's the thing. Cynicism, and I'm not talking badly about you, Maria, but cynicism stunts growth, because if we are cynical about every single thing that is good, I mean, obviously remain vigilant and keep your ears, you know, perked, but we can't be cynical about everything. And I hear this a lot as someone, I used to be a teacher, and a lot of you know that, some of you don't. I was a preschool teacher. I went to school to be a teacher. I went to a vocational school where I was getting my college credits to be a teacher. Ended up teaching at the Early Childhood Education Center where I trained in high school, but then did not go on to college to pursue that, because I saw how much little money the top teachers at my center were making, and realized that it was, I love kids, but not enough that I was also
willing to basically almost starve
exactly
to take care of. No,
exactly.
No way.
So, and then I decided to flip that, and you know, eventually I started teaching Etsy. And I get so many people who are like, oh, another course. oh, another YouTuber who's selling something.
We're conditioned to be cynical nowadays. That's just society.
Right. How surprising that she has a course. No. I'm a teacher, and I took what I'm good at, which is teaching, and I took something that I was passionate about, which was the creative industry. As someone who ran a handmade business for 10 years, now I have to do POD because I can't do both. I'm only one person. And I combine those things to bring something completely unique to this community, which is a teaching style that I guarantee you will not find anywhere else, because we focus on the psychology aspect. So has money corrupted me? I've been doing this for 7 years.
As a matter of fact, it's gone the other direction. We do less sketchy, less crappy sales tactics.
Right.
Year by year, we do less. We allow you to pay your payment plan off early and cut off an entire payment off of it.
A whole month.
I've literally never even seen that.
Well, this is one thing I'll say to you, and this kind of leads to what you were just saying as well. And I get all the skepticism in the world. I really do get all the skepticism. Is who is the boss of a CEO? Who is their boss? Well, it's two people. It's the shareholders and it's the board of directors, right? That's who controls. And as we work towards giving the vendors representation on the board, you effectively are putting a boss on top of the CEO that's represented by the vendors, right? Now, it's not going to be the whole board, right? Because you need tech people on the board and everything else. But the point is that when a CEO of any company will say, my directives come from the top, and it comes from the shareholders and the board of directors. And all I can say is, as we prove day in and day out what we're doing, and then eventually have our board with members from the community, it's going to show that we want our vendors to have some control. It's something that I hope spreads to more of the industry, because we're in a very predatory environment. There's no doubt about it. When you look at how DoorDash drivers are taken advantage of, and Uber drivers are taken advantage of, I mean, it's becoming I think it's becoming a crisis. You know, if you think handmade vendors are taken advantage of, talk to a DoorDash person, right? Talk to an Amazon driver. And now, if those vendors can get representation within a company, I think a lot of the world would change, because we're living in a world now where humans are becoming the product, right? Humans are the product. That's not a world I want to live in, right? Humans are human, right? And they deserve to be treated thus. But the problem is that the AI machines above us are controlling things in a way that the humans are being churned out as product. And, I wish there was more I could say than trust me. For anyone who is questioning, I would join not to give a plug to our Facebook community.
No, absolutely do that.
We have over 10,000 members in our Facebook community, and come in there and ask them, from makers who have been with us since the beginning. I think if you talk to any maker who has been with us since the beginning, they're going to, I hope, ask them, but I think they're going to tell you that our integrity has been the cornerstone of everything we've done since the beginning. And if anything, I want to dig further into that integrity. I want to do more things, like I'm talking about the board member seats. I want to do more of that, because if we can pull this off, which we are, if we can pull this off, we're not just doing it for the handmade industry. We're going to prove to all these other marketplaces that are taking advantage of their vendors what can be done in the world. That's where you really look at changing things. You say, holy shit, look what GoImagine did. Why don't we do it with Uber? Why don't we do it with DoorDash? Why don't we do it with OpenTable? Why don't we do it with Upwork? Why don't we do it with, and then you build a model. Then we as a community write the book on how to do things in a better and more ethical way, right? And we can freaking do it. The only thing stopping us from doing it is us. The only thing stopping it, the platform in the world of GoImagine, our platform is built. Does it need upgrades? Yes. Is it some things that people wish it could do? Yes. All of which is coming? Yes. It'll come faster, the faster we grow, but it's all coming. But it can all be done. And we have an opportunity to freaking prove it. We have an opportunity to prove to the world it can be done. But it depends on whether the makers want it enough. if they can afford the $250 a month to get behind it.
This is, this is one of those things where, John, if you're like a con artist, you're the best con artist ever. Because this is where, everybody during the Tuesday video, when they're like, oh, clearly Starla's making money. No, I'm sitting and I'm listening to this man talk and I'm agreeing with everything that he's saying.
Listen, I'm not looking to get rich. I mean, do I want to make a good living? Do I want to make some money and be able to support my family? Yeah, but like, there's so much. I left my last company to make less money now, and it's because my last company that I started became all about the money. And there's so much more fulfilling in the world when you're doing things from a passionate standpoint than to how much money you can make. And I would sleep in bed so much easier at night if we could build something great and I make a good income. Right? I mean, yeah, I got to make money. Everyone's got to make money. But
of course.
Who's trying to become a billionaire? I mean, like, I
agree with your points. I think we're coming to a turning point as a society where we have to decide if we're going to let everything take control of us or if we're going to control everything. And I think it's important.
That's a good way to put it.
We have left previous ventures with other business partners that we've worked with who had the same, like, make money mindset, and they crash it. Not only does it not work, you take advantage of your customers too much and they turn on you, but it turns you into a terrible person. If you've really met anybody who's money first, mind focused, there's a weird toxicity to their personality that you just can't get past.
They don't see you as a person.
Nothing feels genuine. And I think it's important that we continue pushing this. It's exactly why we don't sell our course in the sketchiest way possible in an attempt to try to just take advantage of everyone who doesn't know better.
Exactly.
And I see a lot of that in you as well. And I'm glad that we have other people in the world that
I saw it in Anthony Wolf from the first when it was just Pam and Debbie, working for him, and I saw his vision and how he spoke. He was another person, Christina Nicole. You guys love her because I gravitate towards these people who I know are in it for the right reasons. Yes. So I've decided to put my name on GoImagine. I've decided to attach myself here because I truly, truly believe in this mission. Now we are at the end. We're actually 3 minutes over.
I wasn't completely finished.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Jumped on me.
Sorry.
Again, like I was trying to say, we're approaching this. You totally threw me off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're approaching this like cyber dystopia world that we're getting towards, and we had this conversation the other day because somebody said, why can't my AI do my dishes for you? Well, fun fact, Q4 of 2025 is when home robots are estimated to make their first appearances for roughly $18,000 to $20,000. You can go to NVIDIA's channel and they have a video detailing how their AI are currently being trained in a digital world to do tasks like cooking, cleaning, mowing yards, cleaning your house, doing all these things. They just announced their first AI supercomputer for robots that just has a USB-C port in and out next year. We're approaching that. And it's up to us to not let this turn into this thing where we're all living in corporate housing for pennies on the dollar with food plans that the companies like. We can avoid that future inevitability and stand against that if we stand together as big communities who care about each other and not just about the fact everybody wants to make money. Like he said, of course people want to make money. Of course you want to be a millionaire, but there are more important things to that. And I think Etsy is a perfect example of how you can take a handmade community and you could just crap all over it by allowing anything and everything, because of course you can say, oh, well, POD is handmade. I agree to an extent that POD is handmade. If you're making the art from hand and you're putting it on a shirt. However, like he said, there's slippery slopes with these kind of things, because then you're opening the avenue for anybody who has a Creative Fabrica account to just download stuff. And now you're expecting a company like Etsy to be able to vet hundreds of thousands of people who are doing the exact same thing, when even with their shareholder money, they cannot afford to pay enough people to personally vet all of these things. So
No.
it has to start from a ground up foundation with the correct things in place to be able to prevent those things from happening. And then maybe in the future, something like POD could be possible for something like GoImagine. But the ability to do something like that just isn't there in a feasible way that protects the community. And it's up to you guys to be able to start your stores, push these things. And I don't hardly know anything about GoImagine. I'm not trying to say, oh, you need to switch from, you need to have your eggs in as many baskets as you can. Like she was saying at the beginning of the stream, we've got our course, we've got our Etsy shop, we've got like 6 other ways that we make money. You should try to branch out, build a portfolio of ways that you're making money. And if one works better for you in the long run, go for that one, whether that be Etsy, your own website, GoImagine, whatever that is. Just make sure you're doing it ethically. And again, stop with the cynicism. You don't have to be cynical about everything. If you get burnt, publicly blast the thing that burnt you. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have ways to talk about that, but don't approach everything that you do from this
You
crazy, like, oh, it's gonna ruin my life. If GoImagine doesn't work for you, literally nothing bad has happened other than you wasted a little bit of time. And I know half of you spent 10 minutes on your phone taking a dump this morning, wasting your time. So don't tell me anything about wasting your time. We're Americans. We are the best at wasting our time. Anyway, sorry, rant over.
You got some spicy Mark in the.
You know what, Mark? I'm excited you just opened up. I enjoyed that. That was fantastic.
Sorry, my headache medicine's kicking in.
he's great once he gets going.
One last thing I'll say is that the good news is we have a lot of supporters. We do. We have thousands and thousands that are supporting us. So as much as I'm here having a rant of certain milestones and benchmarks that are going to get us to the next stage, for anyone who is watching that is a supporter of GoImagine and has been part of our community, I do want to thank everyone, because the only reason we can be here right now talking to Starla and Mark is because of all the supporters that have been out there already saying that we believe in the mission, we believe in what's going on, we see what's gone on, and that's what gets us here today. So I want to thank everyone, and I look forward to where it takes us next.
Awesome. Well, Jon, for those of you who had questions about Handmade Alpha Academy, stay on. We'll go ahead and let Jon go. But Jon, there were probably like 200 more questions that they weren't able to get.
Most of them were reiterations of other questions that had been asked. So.
Right. How can they ask you questions if they have them?
So the easiest thing for me is I've got so many social accounts and someone tags you and I don't have all day long just to be on this.
Exactly.
We referenced it before. There's an app we have called Maker Circle. It is free. You can download it. You do not have to be a GoImagine member. Okay. Maker Circle. You can go on the iPhone or go on to Android and download Maker Circle. There's a lot of great content there, and there's a lot of great people you can meet there. We have thousands of makers there. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'm live. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I answer questions on how to use GoImagine. We open up and I show how to use it on the screen. I'm also just happy to talk about the mission, talk about my integrity or whatever it is everybody wants to talk about. I'm willing to talk about it. But yeah, that's where I am every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Download Maker Circle, join that community. It's free for everybody. Otherwise, you can always just email support if you have any specific questions, support@goimagine.com. If you just have a question, it doesn't have to come from me. You just email support@goimagine.com, and myself, Chris, Steph, someone will get back to you and answer the question you have.
Yeah, it's not like Etsy where you'll get like a robot answering you and then it'll just send you 10 swipe files that never acknowledge your question. A person will respond to you.
Will get back to you.
Perfect. Well, Jon, I'll probably message you after the stream. I'll go ahead and let you go so I can close things out. But guys, I appreciate all of your questions. Please go join Maker Circle. That's Maker. I couldn't find it because I kept looking for Makers Circle. It's just
MAKER Circle, CIRKLE.
Yeah. Go join that. Add me. Find me on there. I'm on there. And Jon's name is spelled Jon. I couldn't find him because I kept putting an H in his name. So
you like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, go find him and add him, and watch for his live stream on Wednesday. And yeah, all right. So how do we get rid of Jon? Make him go.
I go boop.
No. Oh no! You actually made him go away. Wait. Okay. Wait. What'd you say?
I said thank you. Goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Bye. No, I was
Bye.
doing it funny. We'll see you later.
Bye, John. All right, guys.
Okay. Yeah. And Maria, I was not referring specifically to
No.
you. I see a lot of, and I know a lot of you guys are the same way. You can't even get on social media anymore because it's just so negative and entitled and cynical, and it's up to you to not have that kind of mindset. And I wish more people had the same mindset that I did about it.
Well, you have evolved as a person so much over the years from being in the military and having to be suspicious about everything.
Oh, of course, that's different. But
what I'm saying is that you're someone who has made that transition, and I've seen it. And those who have been here since like 2017 when we started doing this, you know, they see it too.
And I'm not telling you not to question.
Oh, definitely question everything.
My whole life at this point, from every single thing, is what is the positive of this? What is the negative of this? Why should I care? You should question everything. Every decision you make in your life, you should question from the ground up. Why am I doing this? What benefit? What negative?
Exactly.
Anyway.
All right, guys. So, if you have a question about Handmade Alpha Academy, because that opens in a week and it is expensive, and I want to make sure that you have the ability to ask me questions, I would prefer to talk to you. I hate answering emails, but I'll do it if you can you put my email address in the chat? If you need to email me with your questions because you don't want to put them here, that's fine. But Jennifer had said, Starla, I'm so done with Etsy. I am not interested in that coaching program. Will you be making a separate one for GoImagine? So Handmade Alpha Academy, as of right now, is an Etsy course with, how do I explain this? Handmade Alpha Academy is primarily focused about the psychological aspect of running your business. It focuses more on the neuromarketing side of things, on the human or the consumer behavior side of things. And I dare say that right now about 25% of the program, maybe less, is only applicable to Etsy. That's going to be Etsy SEO, which that can be adapted to GoImagine. It's going to be, you know, adding your about section and things like that, specific navigations on Etsy. Those things only make up a very small majority. The reason that I don't pitch it to anyone who isn't selling on Etsy is I don't want you to join and not get 100% of the benefit. That feels not right to me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want you to join it and have the expectation that it's going to teach you how to, you know, sell on Amazon, because it's not. It's not a, you know, click around on, you know, Etsy and do this and this and that. There's a lot of other things that go into it.
We're getting so much love, people. Basically, it's not just an Etsy class.
Exactly. There's so much more to it, but I'm never going to sell it as anything other than Etsy until 2025, my plan is to restructure it. It's not going to be a GoImagine course. It's not going to be an Etsy course. All of the Etsy material is going to be in there. There is going to be some GoImagine content in there. But foundationally, what I would like to do during the restructure is adapt it so that it can be applicable no matter where you sell, with specific resources for those platforms, so that you can apply, if there's specific things like Etsy SEO, for example, that only apply to Etsy, that will be an option. That's going to take a lot of work.
Yes.
So,
and those updates will be free for anybody that joins, just so you're aware. You do not have to pay for that again. And if you are intending to sign up now, I would still do that. Obviously, waiting to get your stuff set up is not as good as just getting it done.
Right.
You guys will get all those updates for free, and fundamentally, the majority of the content will be staying the same.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be misconstrued as our whole course is going to change next year. Don't buy it right now. That's not at all.
It's how I speak.
It's how it's being presented, and it's just switching out the word Etsy for business. I mean, really, 90% of the content, and then the stuff that is Etsy specific being moved into its own specific Etsy category to be able to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That way you guys can treat it more like a choose your own adventure book, so that you have a little bit more control. Or if you want to expand, you have the option to do that as well. Now, the bonus that's going in, it's going to be more of like an onboarding type bonus from Jon, where he's really just talking about GoImagine. But you guys will have the 2 months free. and we're hopefully going to have more opportunities for our students to get involved with the GoImagine community as I'm, trying to get myself a little bit more involved and see how I can help them. I just don't want you guys to think that there's going to be a GoImagine course, because that's not what it is.
No, that's not what we're doing.
Exactly.
Do you think eRank will eventually work with GoImagine?
We're actually working on that. It's going to be a little while, but we've already had meetings about it. We've got a lot of things over at eRank that we're currently working on. So it's in the queue. It's just, we haven't had enough time yet because our development team is so bogged down, but we are definitely talking about it, and we did meet on it.
Yeah.
Was there anything?
There was one person earlier that had asked about the price for HAA.
Handmade Alpha Academy is $997, but you get everything that goes into that program forever. You are in there forever. It's not like a subscription thing. You're just in there. You get all the bonuses, all the updates. You get a year of eRank. You get access to Christina Nicole's Product Photography Essentials Workshop, which is normally $197 on its own. You get annual access to our Alpha Holiday Boot Camps, which are free every single year, where normally you would pay between $60 to $120, depending on when you join, because we up the price and donate the overage to charity. So you get annual tickets to that every year, basically. And obviously this big update that we're talking about in 2025, that will be included in there too. You get support from me forever. So if you ever have questions, all you got to do is drop me an email. You get access to our Student Campus Facebook group, which is a very community-focused group. We don't allow people to get away with crap. You guys can ask anybody.
I'll boot you right out.
You can ask anybody in here that group is a safe place to talk and ask questions.
Yes, it absolutely is. And you didn't address it. There is also a payment plan.
Yes.
For $199 a month, and we only talk about it here if you pay it off you message me, pay it off prior to September 1st. I cut the final payment off. It's normally 6 payments of $199.
Yeah, so technically the payment plan costs more because we have, processing fees, and it's a convenience charge
Keeping
for
up
us.
with 200 payment plans a month is a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So.
But if you pay off your plan by September 1st, he'll eliminate that last payment. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. All you have to do is send him an email that says refund.
And be nice.
Yeah, and be nice.
That's it. That's my only requirement. Be nice.
Yep. And I think that's it. Was there any other?
No.
Oh,
I did the payment plan and paid it off early. Mark was a cutie about it.
Oh, little cutie. On the 2 months free of GoImagine for student members, will that be for the basic plan or the mosaic plan? I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We should have had John answer that.
I think that's all we have, though.
Is that it? Okay, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We appreciate you. Thank you for being so cool. Like, I'm always nervous when we bring guests on because, I want to look good for the guests, and I want you guys to look good for the guests. So all of you have been wonderful. Please go join the Maker Circle app, Maker singular Circle. Add me on there. I'm trying to be more active on it. John will stream this Wednesday, so you can ask him all of your questions. And
Sally had asked, can we include in our package we ship from an Etsy sale, like a promotional card for our show? If you include things in your packages, GoImagine isn't regulating what you can and can't put in your package.
You mean Etsy isn't? Etsy isn't regulating what you put in your...
If they're asking for GoImagine, they do stuff for their Etsy sales. Can they do that stuff for GoImagine?
Yeah. Okay. She's saying, can she put the insert in if it redirects to her GoImagine shop?
If you're putting business cards in your Etsy packages, like the packages you're shipping on Etsy, Etsy has no control over that. You just can't redirect them from Etsy to GoImagine on your Etsy shop. If that makes sense. Yeah, you can put whatever you want in your packages as long as it's legal.
Yeah, and someone who just joined the Alpha Facebook is cold messaging me asking me about my Etsy shop at random. Please, please email me at starla@handmadealphaacademy.com.
Don't publicly call them out or say anything to them. Don't reply. Just shoot it to us so we can.
Or if you've seen them post anywhere or comment anywhere in the group, please just report the comment and I'll get in there and remove them.
We'll get in there and get them. I'll get them.
I think that's it though, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We have a new outro. Well, it's not new, guys.
It's not new. It's like 3 years old,
but here's a word from our students.
Bye.
I have become a better person through HAA.
What I really like about Starla is her honesty and transparency. There's so much that she gives to people for free.
I'm like, this is an incredible framework for me to build into and adjust to and adapt to, and all these things that I would have never been able to figure out on my own.
I was like reinvigorated about my business when I started HAA.
Our armor was featured in Lucifer season 5 finale, and the main actor got to wear things that we created here. Part of the reason why we were able and ready to do such a thing was because of the alphas.
Joining Etsy, joining any online platform, you have question after question after question. HAA has been the one place where I've got answers for nearly all my questions.
You guys and what you have done with the Handmade Alpha Academy has literally changed my life.
And you get continued help no matter where you're at in your Etsy journey. That was probably the biggest selling point for me.
The way you teach it, it's simple, it's down to earth. I can comprehend it. That's one of the things I love about your teaching style.
I don't think I ever could have done it without being in the HAA. Your step-by-step steps were fantastic.
I don't know how you could not succeed by following the step-by-step really instruction of how you lead us through HAA.
The first 4+ years that I was on Etsy, I think I had 37 sales, and we've gotten well over 1,000 since then. I think I'm up to 1,200.
Self-paced, there's an amazing Facebook group that will help you.
Invest in yourself. It's worth every penny and so much more.
I look at my Etsy shop and I look at my website and I am just in awe of what I have done. And I just look at it every day and think, wow.
I actually think that for what you get, you guys are really, really not charging enough. I hate to say that.
I've had thoughts to myself where I've been like, I'd give you guys $3,000 for this course. I see how valuable it is.
2020, I did maybe $3,000. 2021, I did $10,000. HAA for me paid back for itself 6 weeks after I signed up for it.
I definitely recommend it. If you can invest the money, the time investment is not too bad.
Well worth the money. There is nothing in all that I've taken that I haven't been able to use for my business.
Absolutely, just do it, because there's what do you have to lose? And it's everything you need in one place.
It's hard to buy an education that will teach you practical skills like we learn in HAA.
Take the plunge, do it. First off, the money back guarantee is really a selling point for me.
She knows so much about marketing and branding and the psychology behind it. So that's really good knowledge to have, and she's so willing to share that.
So I would tell everybody out there that's thinking about it, if you're ready for this step and if you're ready to grow yourself and your business, it changed our lives. Honestly,